Hey everybody, this is Kristi from birdmentor.com, and I am just jumping on here super quick to go over the some of the questions that were asked from the webinar that I did the other night with Elliott. If you got to make it on to that webinar, it was super fun and such an honor to hear all that Lang had to share with us. You know, it was yeah, he's just a real treasure, and I feel so lucky that that he was willing to share what he did with us. So if you didn't get a chance, today is the last day that you get to watch the replay of the webinar. You can head on over to the Bird Mentor Facebook page, and the webinar is on there for you to take a look at. Right now, what I wanted to do with you guys is there was a bunch of questions that came through. Oh my gosh, we had like over 500 people. I think there's like 560 people that came onto the webinar that night. And so we were doing our best to field the questions that we got, but we weren't able to get to all of them. And so I told you guys that I would come on the next couple of days and answer some of those questions. And so I'm going to start with 3 of them today, and then either later on today or tomorrow, I'll be going over some more, and then we'll also reach out to Lang as well and get answers to the questions that were directed to him. So, ready? All right. So the first question, oh yeah, and I wanted to tell you guys, so registration for my Learning Birdsong course is live. So you can head on over to birdmentor.com, click on Birdsong, and you can register for the Learning Birdsong class there. My little chipmunk friend is under the deck right now. Just heard it down there. Anyway, yeah, so come on over, join the Learning Birdsong class. This is the last time I'm offering it this year, so we'd just love to have you guys be a part of that class. It's been amazing. We have TAs who are going to be helping out, also a bunch of mentors who are professional birders and people with all sorts of incredible birding skills, from like naturalists to, you know, actual like full-on ornithologists. So yeah, it's going to be an incredible class this time, so I hope you don't miss it. Come join us at Bird Mentor. All right, so answers to the questions. All right, one of the questions, and I'm going to start kind of from the beginning of the webinar and go on from there. So one of the first questions that someone asked was, Lang had played this beautiful song of a bird. It kind of has this like amazing whistle. And Brian, who actually is going to be one of the mentors for the birdsong class, he was on there sharing how this is actually one of his favorite birds, and just to hear Lang play it using one of Lang's own recordings that he got of this bird. It's a pretty obscure species. Brian was super touched by it, and so everyone was like coming in the chat because we didn't reveal the name of the bird yet, and so people were like, what's that bird? What's the name of the bird? And Lang did talk about it later. He did play the song later in the webinar, but I don't know if everyone caught on to that, like which one it was. So the name of the bird is the Audubon's oriole, and so you can look that one up. It's a beautiful bird. And then also go, I'm not sure if Lang has that song, but if you look it up on Audubon's website, go to the Audubon website, look up the Audubon's oriole, and you'll be able to see or hear one of Lang's recordings of that oriole. It's so beautiful. It's just amazing. So, all right, next question. Let's scroll down here. I have a printout of all the questions in the chat that we had. All right, so this one, yeah, so someone asked a great question. They wanted to know the difference, like how do you define a call versus a song? So, you know, people might have different ways of saying this. For me, I think of a song as something that has a melody to it. So, it's not always necessarily pleasing to listen to, like you think of, the song of a marsh wren, for instance. It can sound like kind of angry and pissed off and annoyed. And so, yeah, so it's not always like melodious, but it has a melody to it. Whereas a call, they tend to be short, like calls tend to be short. And just think of the purpose of them, you know, like why is a bird singing versus calling? And so typically, again, this is typically, like there are a few birds, and I'll talk about those in a second, that sound more like calls, but they're really singing. Anyway, I don't want to get too heady for you guys, but basically the reason that a bird sings is, you know, to declare its territory, to call in a mate, to inspire a mate to come. And also, you know, there's reasons that we don't even know why birds sing, right? Some of them get up super early in the morning and they start singing their hearts out, or they go all night long and sing. And so, yeah, so some of us we don't even know why birds sing, really. But those are some of the reasons why we know that birds sing. And then the reason why they call is to communicate information. So it's usually to talk to one another. So it could be like a conversation between a pair, like a mated pair, and they're just going to make little chip notes to each other, like chip, 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 right? So again, they tend to be more brief. And so I think I'll just stop there. I'll keep it nice and simple for you guys today. I won't get too like deep into it. Okay, let's see, one more question and I'll go through today. Is there a resource with all of these calls and songs? I would love to share something like this with my students. I am a teacher. So this was coming in from Lynn Prosen. It doesn't say where she's from, but Lynn was asking if there's a resource for all these calls. Now, I'm not sure if Lynn was asking about a specific resource for Lang's calls or if she was asking just for a resource for songs and calls. Hear them right now? Anyone know who that is? It's a little family that's around here. Okay, so I don't think that's for me, but they might be talking about something else in the yard. So the resources, there's a great resource called the Macaulay Library. You can head on over there, and the Macaulay Library actually has not just the sounds and songs that you can look up for all sorts of birds, but they also have the sonograms or spectrograms. You can like visually see the song. It's an incredible resource. The other one that I love, I use all the time, is xeno-canto. So I've put a link to these in the description, so you guys don't have to worry about like figuring out how to spell them. There's a link there you can check out. So xeno-canto, it's a citizen science project. It has a wealth of songs, and you can, it's not super user friendly, but there are ways to click on the songs and you can actually see the spectrograms for a lot of those songs in there too. But literally like almost any bird you can think of in the world, someone has gone out and recorded and taken like copious and detailed notes about like where the recording was made, like what time of day it was, if it was a male or a female, and all that. It's just amazing. They even grade and rate the calls, like, you know, the recordings. Like if it's a super good recording, it gets an A, and if it's like a really crappy recording, it gets like a D or something like that. So xeno-canto is one of my favorites. Also, Audubon website and the Audubon app is a wonderful, wonderful resource. If you have the Audubon app, you'll get all of Lang's recordings. And so the other thing I forgot to put a link in here is Lang's website, The Music of Nature. Now, he doesn't have all of his sounds there, but oh my gosh, you guys, head on over to his website, because not only does he have sounds now, Lang is an incredible videographer, and so he actually has the birds singing themselves. So you can click on some of the pictures and you'll see the birds singing their own song, and the quality of the imagery is just beautiful. It's incredible. So yeah, head on over to Lang's website to check that out. And just a reminder that this is the last day for the well, actually, no. You guys have a couple more days to register for the Learning Birdsong course that ends on Monday. So Monday night is the last day to register for the Learning Birdsong course with me and a whole bunch of mentors and TAs and just lots of awesome people. I think Lang might even come on there occasionally. And yeah, it's just going to be amazing. It's a 6-week course. It's online. You can totally do it in your own schedule. I love teaching it. It's going to be the last time this year I'm doing it, so come join me, please. All right. And oh yeah, one more thing. We're going to be giving away the prizes. So during the webinar, we talked about prizes that people would get if they registered for the class on the webinar. And in just a few minutes, I'm going to have Dan Gardoki here from Lead with Nature, and Emily, I don't know Emily's last name, sorry. Emily with Texas A&M AgriLife Extension, because some of the prizes are from those two people. And so we'll be on here in just a few minutes to share that. All right, thanks everybody.